Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to express my opinion about why Scar have been nerfed in the Tower of Adversity. You could say some skilled players' pride have been scarred. So, the reason for nerfing was because Scar's high attack frequency has led to subpar gaming experience. High attack frequency. So, let me see, didn't we had a lot of trouble with hologram bosses? So when Kakashi came into Wuthering Wave and pushed his Raikiri into my arse, combined with his clones, did they nerf him because high attack frequency? Wait, why there are two? There are two! Kagebunshin! There are two! No! What about Shikamaru? Didn't Shikamaru watch that intro for 10 hours and turn into that thing and start binding me with his attacks? So I got rooted wherever I was standing and I got nuked out of existence. Move! Move! Why you can't move? Move! No! What about that? Did that tailor toward rotation and great gaming experience? Why none of them have been nerfed? So what about Tower? What have happened there? In the last Tower, they have buffed the HP of your enemies. So you have to have much more stats. It's a complete DPS check. Now, after that, many people have complained that boss is too hard and they have nerfed the Scar. So what they did, they reduce attack frequency, which means you have more time to deploy your stats, if you know what I mean. There are many ways to nerf a Scar, which was a proper way to do it. You can nerf the HP, which was completely cancerous. You can remove extra damage negation to holy attacks, to light attacks. You can even add parable attacks in between attack strings. But they didn't do any of it. The only thing they did was to slow him down. They didn't touch HP pool. So I'm going to ask you a simple question, which going to shed a clear light on this situation. Why they never nerf hologram bosses? Although many people complain that hologram is too hard, they never nerfed hologram bosses. But they nerf Scar. Scar is aggressive, I agree, but not as aggressive as other hologram bosses. But Scar have much more HP pool. Or more accurate way to say it, you have less time to beat him. You have 3 minutes. If you want to 3-star, you're clear. If you take more than 3 minutes, you're going to lose your score. Something I see many people brag about, that this game is completely and everything about it is completely skill based. I think the design of Tower is not tailored toward skills at all. I mean, you should have skills, of course, but the primary direction is not a skill to begin with. It is investment, not a skill. To be clear, I'm not saying that skills have no value here. I am saying that 70% of Tower aimed at investment. So, how we do invest in our character? Gear and copies. Side note, I don't think it's play any point in our conversation, so I completely ignore them. But it's really obvious thing. You need to raise your character, ascend it, and also increase their talent. Now, back to main point. Gear and copies. Gear itself have two parts. One of them is your echo set, one of them is your weapon. As for echo set, you have to spend so much time grinding for the chance to have a usable echo in your set. The stats are RNG on top of RNG on top of RNG. and you have limited resources for trying to get a perfect echo you need. Not perfect, but just usable. Something with attack, crit rate, and crit damage, which is really hard to do. It is so hard that if I get a crit rate and crit damage together, at that point I don't care about any more stats. As long as I have these two, I'm good. The sub stats make it really hard and grindy. It is completely luck based. And I unfortunately seen many people have deluded themselves that having a perfect echo set and lucky getting perfect sub stats is somehow skill based. As of those people thinking that your pulls in a gacha somehow related to your skills. If you look at who could manage to get 30 stars from tower, most of them, as far as I could see, have a really good skill set. But one thing that really separates them from most people that couldn't get 30 stars, almost perfect set of echoes and a really good weapon. I seen one person manage to clear tower with 4-star weapons, but one of 4 stars are variant from gacha, which is completely RNG, another from season pass, which is another weapon that you can't get as a F2P, which grants you crit rate, and echo set he used was almost as perfect as possible. So that's that. Although I'm completely agree that that guy was so skilled that I felt I was watching a task video. But the investment has become the major pain point between who can clear the tower and who cannot. And I see many people talking about the skills of players and complaining about who are not skilled enough to clear the tower. It's really something when I see some people even claim that having RNG in echoes is somehow skill based. And at the end of the day, you still need lots of investment. Now if you look at the S6 against S0, the S6 of main DPS characters, they do almost twice damage compared to S0. All of them have increased their damage by over 100% in some time. And you need to remember, you also can increase your weapon too. So not only you have to invest in your weapon, but your character and your echo. Long story short, you need 3 weight on the scale in order to clear tower of adversity. Skills which contribute 30% of your overall weight you have to put on your scale. 70% comes from your copies into your character, weapon, and your echo. You may skip investing in your character and instead have a perfect echo set and a perfect skill set. You may make up for it, but at the end of the day, it's going to be harder and harder because the design of Tower of Adversity is to make it easier for you to just invest. And many people that cannot clear tower going to clear it with more investment. And remember, if you don't want to deal with massive amount of RNG and a lot of grind and useless rerolling, you can just try to spend and get 2 or 3 copies. With that, you're going to get such a huge amount of power boost that most likely you are not going to get trouble if you don't have a perfect echo. So people who don't want to deal with this much RNG and deal with that amount of bullshit, they can just spend, which I believe that's the direction they are taking. They want to make a tower a place that you either have to be a special case or as lucky as a lottery winner, or you just spend. But if you give S2 or S3 to many people with a really good echo set and weapon, all of them going to clear tower, and most of them don't think Scar needed any type of nerfing whatsoever. The boss is not hard at all. The boss is DPS checked. You are gatekept by investment. And this is another tactic to pursue you to spend a lot of money in your account. This is my opinion about this nerf. As things have been laid out, it's pretty clear to me that the devs want you to spend on extra copies. It's all about stats, it's all about investment, it's all about how much big of damage you can do, not how good you play. And the last one thing, I hope people are mature enough to understand I am simply sharing my opinion, and my opinion could be wrong altogether. So please don't get offended by my opinion, because I do not seek any type of intention to offend anyone in any case in this conversation. I could be wrong. Simply, I'm going to admit it. I do not have ability to clear tower at the moment. So it could be just my skill issue. And everything is completely fine with tower. But I laid out my reasoning behind my opinion. I hope we can have civil conversation and a productive one. You know what is really interesting here? I went and tried Scar in a tower. Funny enough, I didn't feel any difference with the nerfs. And I saw some videos about people being upset about it. And all the apologies about nerfing and all the conversation about it. And even after I made this video, it feels all of them was for naught. Because it feels nothing have changed with Scar.